Okay, I wanted to do a quick sort of energy check-in and turned out a little bit more detail than I was expecting. But I feel like if you're someone who either does your own readings or you pay attention and look at tarot card readings or channeled messages, you may already know a good part of these messages. But there is some advice here near the end, a little bit of what feels to be like a little bit of like we're cheering you on, right? Like a bit of like moral support type of energy. But essentially this has to do with like a reign has ended and like a new queen has been crowned, right? Like that's kind of the overall energy. I know like all of like the readers and channelers say this, but like this is not about like gender, right? When I say queen, it essentially just means like a new, it's almost like whoever you are, you've the way it's not like a literal crowning. It kind of is like a literal like coronation, I guess, but it's also like you've welcomed the queen into your own castle, right? You've recognized her as the heir. You are giving her space. You're giving her the throne that she rightly deserves within you. And this may have been a very painful process. This may have been a very long process. It's giving very much like there was a lot of war, like inner conflict, maybe before the reign of a queen who deserves to like rule and who will treat her people well. Like this is kind of the energy that I'm picking up on. So that's kind of like the, I guess, like the overall theme of this check in. And then we also have, interestingly, there's something here. It's like be balanced with how much you give and get. So like when we think of like the queen, right, or a queen, and how she's supposed to rule, particularly if there's like a king involved, right? She's seen as the more like in media specifically, right? Not particularly historically, but like in media specifically, you always see her in fairy tales and like books, movies, whatever it may be. You see them as more like subdued. They kind of like listen to what the king says, or not, of course, like not all media, but like in a lot of like traditional media, you kind of have this idea of the queen that she is nurturing, she's soft, she's kind, but she's kind of like sometimes like a doormat. So what they're kind of saying here is like, despite this queen being crowned and you embracing this queen, remember to not to be a doormat, essentially, right? So make sure, yes, fill other people's cup, but fill your cup as well. Don't fall back into like, maybe if you've had issues with like people pleasing in the past, like don't fall back into those habits of doing that. Instead, be more like measured, right? Be measured in your approach, be measured in how you treat people, right? Life is kind of about equal give and take. We're not always taught that, or we're not always aware of that. And it's not really something that we kind of talk about. And I think we should be more aware of it or more cognizant of this. But we should be very measured, I think, in how we approach our like interpersonal relationships, right? So if someone is just constantly taking from you and like not giving, you're well within your right to stop giving to them. And I know it's easier said than done, but I think it's going to get easier for you because, again, even though the queen has been crowned, and I said in like more fictional media, they're often seen as subdued. You're different because you are a real person, first of all, but also because you already kind of have like the way that I'm kind of seeing this is like you didn't pay much attention to the feminine aspects of yourself, the feminine energies within yourself, because you were putting a lot of your effort into the masculine energy. So the masculine energy within you is ready to protect that feminine already. But it's just like a reminder that like sometimes people do fall into the traps of people pleasing and overgiving, right? So be measured in your approaches. What else do we have here? Another kind of like little reminder is that like through whatever changes that are coming, no matter how tumultuous, how chaotic they may seem, see through that. Like I'm almost hearing like see through the bullshit. Like don't let the chaos around you like ruffle you around. Like I'm also seeing like a picture of like a tornado. Like don't let it like pick you up and like carry you and like throw you around, right? Instead, ground yourself and know what like the truth is, and like know yourself, know your ability to overcome things, know your strength, know your power. Yeah, I think like know yourself seems to be like the strongest message in this part. Is just like regardless of what changes happen, no matter how drastic, how quick, how like sudden they may seem, like know that you're going to be okay, that you are stronger than this. It's almost like you have, like, as this like ruler, right, this queen or this king, it's almost like you've taken your like royal sword and like dug it into the ground, like stabbed it into the ground, and you're holding on, and this tornado can do like nothing to you. So remember that your sword is like buried into the ground, right? As long as you hold on to this strength. Swords are often symbols of like strength, of power. As long as you hold on to this and remember that you have this, you're not going to get blown away. At the same time, it's like it does seem like you have, like, because of this like coronation, you do have some like good luck coming your way, fortune, like some like wishes coming true, whatever it may be, gifts and things. Of course, it's going to be, I think, different for every person, but it's like certain things that you want, you're going to be getting, right? Like materially. But it's also reminding you, this message here, it's like reminding you to like not get like carried away. Like, don't like leave people behind. Like, don't fly away with all these like whatever, if you're getting like luxuries and stuff. Like, don't forget, again, I think there's a very strong message of like grounding yourself and like rooting yourself. Like, don't forget who you are, right? Don't leave people behind. Again, you don't have to overgive or anything, but at the same time, don't let it, this like wealth or abundance or whatever it is that's coming through, this streak of good luck, like, don't let it change who you are. I mentioned people pleasing before, and people pleasers are generally, they have like that generosity kind of in them already, right? They're able to give, and like keep on to that. Like, that's what I mean by like hold on to that. Like, don't overgive, but hold on to that generous part of yourself. Yeah, because a lot of this, I guess, like this abundance, I don't know what to call it, because again, it's different for different people. It's just like good fortune. It's like things that you want coming in, things kind of going your way. Like, the best way I could describe it is like a streak of like good luck. It's coming in really quickly. So you're going to have to be like strong. You're going to have to be very like, aside from being like very measured and stuff, you also have to be very like sometimes I think when we get like a streak of good luck, we let it kind of get to our heads and we let this sort of energy control us. But I think what is important to sort of realize is that we are the ones receiving this good luck. It is for us. We're the ones kind of in control of the good luck because it's coming into our domain. But because we're so happy and so like just ecstatic, so grateful, even sometimes, that we kind of let it get to our heads and we let it get away from us almost, right? And it lets you, the material stuff kind of starts to control you instead of it being the other way around. So, be strong, right? Don't let the material things control you. Remember that you're the one in control. There's something here about it's been like a long time coming. And it is thanks to that, like that generosity, that kindness in you. And that, I mentioned like this may have been a very difficult period to get to this coronation part. You remained kind through it. Your heart remained pure through it. And what I mean by that, I don't like using terms like that because it sounds very polarizing. Of course, everyone has like bad thoughts from now and then, but what I mean by pure is that you didn't let it change who you are, right? You didn't let these thoughts control you or corrupt you. You remained kind, essentially. You remained compassionate. And because of that, there is a lot coming in, right? Again, this like lucky streak that's coming in. There seems to be a lot of, like, in general, like energy of like harmony and unity. I think I mentioned this in one of my readings. I think it was the very first one that I did, that there's a lot of like unity coming in, unity within, but also without. And what they're saying is like, in order to bring this in quickly, it's already like meant to come in. Like, it's not something that can be canceled out, but in order to bring it in like quicker or more like smoothly, they're advising that don't let your own like ego, again, I don't like using these like definite terms, your own like limiting beliefs, things that you may have fallen trapped to, like mental traps that you may have fallen into before, of, like if it's imposter syndrome or whatever, right? Like whatever these things may be, like don't fall victim to these things. Like don't let these things best you, essentially, right? Like it's the same thing with that energy of like the lucky streak coming in. Don't let that best you because you're the one in control. Like this is for you. Similarly, like your mind, it's meant to work for you. So don't let it take control of your entire like headspace. Yeah, don't, it's almost giving like you're smarter than that. You've learned a lot. You've come a really long way. You know better than to fall for these like little tricks that your mind may play on you. The final message here is that you are a lot stronger than you even know, than you even understand. You just have to really trust yourself and really ground yourself. You know, dig that sword into the ground, hold on, find your footing, like don't get swept up.